My presentation is about wood house architecture in Estonia, and I will talk a little bit about Estonian timber industry and wood house industry in general, and then move on to my showcase project to talk a little bit about the practical applications of everything which was talked about before. Well, Estonia is a land of woods and forests, as it's similar to for all the Baltic countries, I guess. But yeah, here are some numbers about the official forest land territories and types of forests, and naturally that with all these natural resources, timber product industries are developing and are really popular, successful in recent years. Now, from all the possible products which are made from timber, there are wooden buildings, as we can see from statistics, are having the most and taking the first place in exports. Now, yeah, wooden buildings. So in 2016, Estonia was actually the #1 wooden building exporter in Europe by total value of exported product. And now it might be on some other place, but let's see then where all those wooden buildings go actually. And as we can see from this chart and like official statistics, so most of the Estonian wooden buildings go into the Nordic countries or Scandinavian countries. And obviously it's because of the location and location and the convenient transport paths, because as with any other products, but especially with wooden houses, it's important to be able to transport the bigger shipments to a destination country. So as main percentage of the products go to the Sweden, Finland, and Norway, I'm working in an architectural company, and we as an architects are focusing on those markets too, because obviously since most of our Estonian wooden architecture go for export, then we have to be oriented on outer markets too. Then why Scandinavia, or what are the Scandinavian markets looking for in our wooden buildings or products? First of all, it's a quality certified materials, and that's like would be valid for most of the Europe, but then controlled production process, because obviously these production facilities and the companies are available outside of Europe and in more eastern countries, but these Baltic countries can show really controlled production process, and then it's really possible to visit all the factories, and there is a high-tech equipment available at the production sites. Then next one would be already mentioned transportation routes, because direct shipments are possible by the ferries, and it's really convenient, which was it was also used for our project, which I'll be showcasing later. Then one more important thing is the skilled specialists and affordable rates. So why our architectural company is much more competitive, or is very competitive to the local Scandinavian companies, is we have a really big talent pool, and yet Estonia offers really favorable economical conditions in terms of taxes and just general laws to be managing companies from Estonia. Also, all the digitalization saves money and time. Now, even though we're based in Estonia, we are offering proper project documentation for these countries to which we are shipping our architecture and buildings. And for that, we have in-house consultants, and we are setting up all the building permit drawings in the local languages. And all of this together kind of creates a perfect pack of business offerings for the developers or companies in the Scandinavian markets. Now, As an architectural company, we mostly focusing on like architectural design, obviously, but also proper project documentation and building permit drawings in local language. Now, how usually our collaboration works. Or like in our company, we believe that it's important to have a really nice established connections and partners from between the designer and producer, at least. Then the developer or a client comes later to this established work processes, and then can just benefit from the like a pretty much streamlined processes. Between designer and the producer, we sharing drawings and the BIM files, but also as we are usually collaborating with the companies which we already have like a successful project with, then we already have most of their details, technical restrictions. We basically have like a perfect starting pack to start practicing our architectural expression. And then when this information is like nicely shared, then we're kind of saving time on unnecessary changes or some technical difficulties which would have to be solved later. Then the developer or client in the end receiving a clean pack of documentation and drawings, and doesn't have to be as a like in the middle of this process of adjusting architecture towards the like a realistic production processes. Now, most of our production partners located in Estonia, but most of our clients are actually from Norway and Finland and a little bit Sweden, and this really defined the geography of our architecture office. Now, TEMPT was one of the first, or I think it's still the only design company, architectural design company, a member of Estonia Wood House Association, that gave us a little bit of a advantage in terms of meeting all the representatives and making sure to we find all the best production partners for our future projects and for our future clients. Now with all that, I want to move on to our real project, which is really quite fresh. It was designed in 2020 during all this lockdown and the home office. So it was a perfect chance for us to really see how smooth our process is, or how efficient we can be working with international partners, and then working with cross-border specialists in different areas. So my showcase project is a timber prefab residential complex. Then it was designed and produced in Estonia, and it was designed for Norway. But since more than 90% of Estonian wooden house architect or wood houses go to export, I am kind of proud to be presenting the Estonian wooden architecture, even though it was built in Norway. Now, in this case, we collaborated with Timbako wood houses, and our local Norwegian developer and client was Bollig for Folket. We had a chance to work with this breathtaking site. So that's on Lofoten Islands, and it's an amazing place. We went there for a side trip in August for a short while, and we were amazed to see how tight, let's say, how tight the architecture and the landscapes and the nature are all located there. So as you can see from the landscape, it's not too much space to for industrial trucks and for like a building process to move around. So obviously we had from the very start of the project decided that it's going to be off-site modules, and it was really just meant to minimize on-site works. also to minimize this storage of the materials or all the building equipment on site, because we really didn't have space for it. Here is our sketch plan or like a visual of like a site. Then we have a mountain on the top from the northern side, really thin plot right next to the road. And yeah, from both sides are already other residential buildings. So according to the building permission or the site plot permissions, we had opportunity to build the 3 units we only had 2 floors. And then we had the open carports here on the northern side of the plot. Because of the minimal distance from the road and from the sides, we had only like a small balconies from the southern side, and really minimal this like an open balcony, but it's basically access to the upper floor buildings, which also serves as the roof for the ground floor apartments. And on the side of it, we planned the bicycles parking and storage, also like partly covered. Then all the works on site were basically limited to preparing the really light basements or foundations. And it was made from concrete. And yeah, that's the only concrete part of this project. And when this was ready, basically, they were just sitting and waiting for the modules to be delivered from our Tallinn Estonian-based production site. Module production site is located in a tobacco factory nearby Tallinn. They were managing the transportation process of the modules, and they used then the on-the-land transport to Paldiski port, and then from Paldiski through the sea on the ferry, we got the permission, or the developer got the permission to use the nearby really small port on this Lofoten Islands. And because there, as we can see from from this visual, maybe the roads are really like not too wide there. So actually the developer had to get the permission to block all basically all piece of this road between the port and the building site had to be blocked, and then the modules transported overnight, and basically to not interrupt the traffic too much. But yeah, it was really tight. And then with the assembling, basically it had to be assembled in like a few weeks because we couldn't be storing them too much on the nearby sites. Now let's move to the modules. As I said, we are, when collaborating with the particular producer, we have already preset restrictions and some joints and composites for particular producers. And in this case, it was decided that it's a module straight away from the beginning of the process. So we had the maximum transporting lengths of these blocks. Then all the balconies and this access corridor was planned as a separate parts, which would be built and transported separately. We decided to have only 2 types of the apartments. One module studio apartment with this internal, or yeah, I call it internal, but actually it does go to the outside the window, because this corridor, access corridor, is not covered. So in a way, this window does get light, but it's really limited light because it's a northern side. Also because we had to lift it up to upper side of the wall to give some privacy, as it's a bedroom, and minimize when we were planning the buildings, we had to minimize this passing by roads or around this window. So that's why these modules are usually in the middle of this passage corridor. And then there's bigger apartments with 2 modules. They are located on the sides of the building. This allowed us to have more bedrooms here. All the side windows are narrower, but it gives just enough the sunlight. Now only this southern wall or southern facade was planned to maximize amount of sunlight. First of all, as it's from south side, and second of all, like some of the buildings are having a sea view, and we really wanted to give them this opportunity to be, even in the small studio apartment, to be sitting on your balcony and enjoying the sea view. Maybe for local people it's something really normal, but like for us visiting that site and landscape, we were really amazed with the everyday situation of the beauty of the nature there. So it was really important to have a really big windows and the access and the balconies even in the smaller apartments. Now, since on the plot we were allowed to have 3 living units, and we were having only 2 types of apartments. We were like we were making combinations of those kind of apartments for different sizes of the apartment buildings to be able to fit it on site. Now, first smallest building was basically consisting of 2 flats. Each of them having 2 bedrooms, but it is possible to close up the living room here. And we gave this suggestion to the developer. So while selling apartment, he was offering to the future owners to decide if they need this enclosed room or he wanted this open space. Then again, the maximum length of this open span because this is one module, so this is it has to be the really rigid structure. So this maximum length was really predefined by the production process. But of course, we from our side were pushing for longer span. That's again the beauty of working directly with the production party, because we can in some details we understand that it doesn't influence the quality of living or quality of indoor space too much, but in some cases we understand that the small change would be really beneficial for then later people living there, or just for selling points, or basically it would be nicer planning. Then in these cases we can really directly explain it to the construction engineers and on the factory, and they will maybe make alterations for our plannings. Now, second apartment building was from three units per floor. It had to have already 2 staircases because of the fire escape regulations. Then again, we put this smaller studio in the middle. So basically no one will be passing by this window, because each apartment are like the bigger apartments located closer to the staircases. And on the balconies, yeah, we planned this simple separation, like half transparent walls from the planks, just like for the privacy. And the biggest house, we just added 2. Yeah, we had added 2 studio apartments. And basically in the future, the plans of the developer is to purchase more plots around the same area. And so in that case, we can really adjust these modules and these apartment types to the particular restrictions of the plot to make those longer or shorter buildings, but to keep them in a similar style. And actually we got the feedback that most of this well, this is considered as affordable housing for that area. And we made it even more affordable by shortening the building time. But the feedback was really good from all the new apartment owners, that it's like really useful planning, or yeah, functional plannings. And yeah, it was sold out really quickly. So we are planning to build more of a similar apartment houses. Now, this was like a sketch or yeah, esquisse sketch phase of the facade design. We had to have a little bit of a step from the floor for this building for the construction purposes, but also it creates this step from the inside, which it can be used as a bench or like extended from the interior side. So we were not too sad about that. And then on the ground floor, because the terrace is quite close to the ground level, we didn't add any of the railings. So like, yeah, they can really be going out like into their own garden. And here are the 3 of the buildings on our site and the carports behind. Now, this is the photo from the completed construction process. And as you can see, there are 4 buildings now, because actually in the middle of the, or after getting a building permission for this first site that we designed, the developer bought this another plot. And basically we were checking how much or what we can fit here. And now we ended up also with this 4 apartment per floor house here with another separate carport. So it is like a growing residential area here. Regarding the construction or assembly process, we got a building permission in the autumn. Then in the beginning of autumn, and during the autumn time, it was all the modules were produced, fully finished inside and mostly outside in a factory. And then we the modules were transported on site transportation started in February. And then the idea was that after this long night in Norway, when the sun does go up in March, when the sun does go up, then our buildings will be up already. So then the local citizens will kind of see it's all in all glory in the sunlight. That was it about my project.